This speech is suitable for consecutive interpretation, and it's about high-speed rail travel. Ladies and gentlemen, ever since the early 1980s, when the first French TGV ran from Paris to Lyon, Western Europe has seen a kind of high-speed rail mania, a little bit like what happened in Britain about 100 years ago when the first steam trains started to travel around the country. High-speed travel has now spread right across Western Europe at least, providing fast and reliable, high-quality rail services. So much so that we really have become used to this form of travel and would not really imagine going anywhere over land, long distance, by any other means except possibly our cars. Now, I don't want to start talking to you today about the technical challenges involved in building high-speed rail lines, or about routes or the history of railways, although that might be a good subject for a speech one other day. Rather, I'd just like to put one specific question, and that is, has investment in high-speed train travel provided reasonable travel services for the average citizen? Now, the European Commission seems to think that the answer to this question is a definite yes, because they have invested quite a lot of money in high-speed rail themselves. Just to take the high-speed rail system in Spain as an example, in the period from 2006 to 2007, the Commission has provided 3.6 billion euros in investment funding, and we are now in the middle of a second programme to run from 2007 till 2013, and which is worth another 3.5 billion. This is particularly to encourage the Spanish railway authorities to connect their high-speed rail service with the French rail services and therefore provide a cross-Europe connection. Now, such engineering work is, of course, a real achievement in itself. But I'd like to suggest, in my opinion, that it doesn't really help the average commuter or cross-country traveller. What railway companies have done, and the governments as well, is to rob Peter to pay Paul. What they've done is they've put a lot of financing into high-speed trains and not very much into local railways. Of course, one reason for this might be that local train travel isn't considered very sexy. Whilst it looks really nice for a transport minister to cut the ribbon opening some new high-speed rail project, it's not really so attractive for this same minister to be opening a suburban station somewhere. It's not quite so likely to get him elected next time round either. Mind you, not all these high-profile rail projects have been as good as was originally expected. Perhaps one example of this is the Channel Tunnel, which links Britain and France. Though that tunnel was an engineering success and is much appreciated by the thousands or possibly millions of people that have used it already, nevertheless, it was a financial disaster. At the outset, the French and British governments both insisted that this investment should be provided by private funding and that the state would not get involved in the finance. Because, like many of these major infrastructure projects, it took far longer to build than originally expected and cost a great deal more as well, the tunnel has been losing money ever since it opened. And many small investors and some major banks, including the European Investment Bank, have lost a lot of money in the process. What we need now really is to back up these high-speed services with better local transport systems in the big cities. After all, what's the point of being able to travel from Paris or Brussels to London in about 2 hours if it then takes you another 2 hours to get from the centre of the city to your destination, perhaps only 10 kilometres outside the middle of town? Unless the governments are also prepared to tackle these less sexy forms of public transport, consumers, I'm afraid, will vote with their feet and will travel between their two destinations by car and not by train. Thank you.